guests, and fellow classmates. Today's speaker is a veteran of the United States Army Reserve. He served from 1990 to 1996 as a Chief Warrant Officer and UH-1 pilot. He was stationed at Fort Devens with B Company 4th of the 158th Combat Aviation Brigade. He was part of a team of pilots and aircrew that provided tactical air support for air assault missions. He has trained with members of the 10th Special Forces Group, supported West Point cadets during their air assault training, and worked alongside other nations' armies, flying in Canada and Guatemala. It is my honor and privilege to introduce my hero and my father, John Roberto.
Good morning, students and faculty of Wakefield High School, guests and visiting veterans. My name is John Roberto. I'm proud to be known also as the husband of Mrs. Roberto in the front office and the father of Matthew and Adam Roberto. It's a privilege to speak here at the Memorial Day Assembly to honor the men and women who have given their lives in service of our great nation, the United States of America. The accounts of bravery that have occurred on our behalf could not be delivered in 1,000 assemblies. When my wife told me that I was offered the opportunity to speak here, my first reaction was no way, as I'm neither a speechwriter nor have I ever spoken publicly. But my desire to express my respect and gratitude to the men and women who have stepped up to the difficult tasks of battle overtook that fear, and I had to say yes. Serving any time in the military, even a short commitment, can give you a lifelong perspective on events concerning military action and a deeper appreciation for the people involved. As my son Adam mentioned, I served as a helicopter pilot in the Army Reserve for 6 years, until the unit disbanded in 1996. I joined because I wanted to fly, because I had no apprehensions towards military service. If any of you have not considered the military for education and a career, you're missing out on a world of amazing opportunities. I'm not here to recruit, but that is the truth. Perhaps the reason I was not apprehensive about serving was that there have been quite a few members of my family that have served, starting with both my grandfathers, who shortly after immigrating here from Italy and Sicily were drafted during World War I. My father joined the Navy during World War II, and when it ended, he came home, but decided to go back in as a Marine. He served a total of 20 years. He used to attend this event sitting here in the Veterans section. One brother served 3 years in the Air Force, one brother served 6 years in the Army Reserve, another brother served 23 years in the Air Force. One sister is married to a Navy veteran, whose son is a doctor, currently serving. His career and education he found in the U.S. Army. See what I mean about opportunity? Another sister is married to a career Air Force veteran, who showed up here from Tennessee in uniform, Denny. And that is just the immediate family. There are many uncles and cousins who have served as well. One of whom who is here today, I'd like to bring your attention to my cousin, Lieutenant Colonel Roberto of the Virginia National Guard. Colonel Paleo grew up here in Wakefield and is a 1988 graduate of the Vogue. Robert, or Bobby, was deployed to Afghanistan in 2012, and we are lucky to have him with us. I will tell you more about that in a minute. The reason we are here is to honor those who, while serving, gave their lives on land, sea, and in the sky. The service members we remember today came from all walks of life. They came into the military for different reasons. Some were drafted, some dreamed of joining all their lives, some joined with very little thought at all. Others signed up for the benefits, and others just wanted to fly. Within them, I'm sure, was the pride of knowing that they were the protectors of America's freedoms. Once they were there, they responded in extraordinary ways to extraordinary situations. Statistics tell part of the story. As the students told you, the numbers lost in the conflicts. 10,000 in the Revolutionary War, 58,000 in Vietnam. These are large numbers and hard to wrap your head around. I'd like to tell you a few stories of several of our heroes. In March of 1991, I met a soldier named Keith Yoakum. He was from Hemet, California. He was a classmate of mine at Fort Rucker, Alabama, through Warrant Officer Candidate School and Flight School. Years later, in 2007, while supporting ground troops in Iraq, in a flight of 2 Apache helicopters, Keith's aircraft was hit by enemy fire. He was losing hydraulic pressure and knew that meant to land as soon as possible. And he had the chance to. But that's not what Keith did. He knew these guys would disappear, only to attack our troops elsewhere. He instructed the other aircraft to find the enemy and take him out. He would cover them using his rockets, as his main gun was inoperable. To do this, he would have to climb and dive at the targets. After a few minutes, the radio fell silent. Keith and his co-pilot, Jason DeFriend, were gone. Keith left behind a wife, 2 daughters, 2 brothers, a sister, and his parents. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for his bravery. When my cousin Bobby deployed to Afghanistan, he traveled with another soldier named Bob, Major Bob McCarty. On February 25th, an Afghan soldier who he worked with and thought of as a friend shot him dead at his desk, along with an Air Force officer, Lieutenant Colonel Darren Loftus. Darren left behind a wife and 2 daughters. Bob McCarty left behind a wife, 3 sons, and a daughter. Later that year, on July 22nd, Colonel Palaio was sent along with Afghan crime scene investigators to investigate the scene of a hotel terrorist attack in which 20 people were killed, as well as eventually all of the terrorists. The place had already been swept for explosives and was supposedly now safe. An Afghan officer who had been told not to touch the bodies did not heed the warning. He moved a body that was booby-trapped. Bobby describes it as like in the movies when there's a huge noise and deafening silence and confusion. He and another soldier ran up some stairs and assumed a defensive posture until they could figure out what had happened. He hadn't noticed that he had taken cover next to what was left of a suicide bomber. Fortunately, there was a concussion grenade and not a fragmentation grenade, which certainly could have killed anyone near it. As it was, the Afghan officer lost an arm, and Bobby lost some hearing. Bobby came home to his wife, 3 daughters, 4 siblings, his parents, and many cousins, of which I am proud to be one of them. In conclusion, I'm glad to have been given this opportunity to pay my respect to our heroes, and I hope you all will take some time to think of them and their families. Thank you. God bless America.